No start so far.
Well, looking at both these players as they kick things off, round 8, 7-0 versus a 6-0-1, where we were talking about their world's positioning. Jonathan is currently on 640 CP, so on that cusp of making a world's invite. We'll want to get some points here to rise up a little bit further, but currently sitting at 601, we'll be pretty happy with his positioning.
So as I understand it, 640 championship points is actually currently enough, but really wants a few more to secure it. But Nathan, on the other hand, he is up against it. One of the few players from Malta that we've seen. We have not featured many Maltese players on stream, so really cool to see someone from so far coming and doing so well. But he is in that position of he needs a golden ticket for the invite. It is win or bust for Nathan going to Worlds.
And just Jonathan there with the Alakazam. Only an Abra and a Dunsparce down. Meanwhile, on the other side, Nathan's starting with the very cat-like Pokemon you do not want to start with, and it's that Meowth EX sitting in the active spot. Buddy Poffin will be a saving grace to get things going, but at this stage, you are certainly not happy to be seeing the Meowth start.
No, it's never something you want to start with, given that when you start with it, you can't make use of that last-ditch catch ability. We're just getting the list up here. I do believe that's also the only copy that Nathan plays in his list, so will not have access to whatever support he wants, but is able to start off with a Buddy Poffin, which is still pretty solid. And, oh, hold on a second. Are we seeing a Mega Starmie, Mega Greninja hybrid going on? I see a Froakie hitting the field.
Very unique in terms of the start here. We saw the Staryu in the prize cards, so we knew that there was going to be a Mega Starmie involved. But yeah, you mentioned there the Froakie coming down. A unique list here. Definitely a combination of Pokemon you wouldn't necessarily expect to go together.
Oh wait, hold on a second. I feel re-vindicated all of a sudden. No, this is not a Mega Starmie deck. This is a Greninja deck with Dusknoir and Mega Starmie as a backup. This is bonkers here. Goodness me.
Yeah, well, we'll get to see a little bit more of how this deck works. Oh, has attached to the bench there, and has to leave that there and won't be able to go into that Budu here. So a bit of a mistake to item lock Jonathan at this stage. So now a little bit of an opportunity to draw some cards and set up a bit better.
So it's sometimes just like the mental blunder, right? You just know you need to retreat, but you want to set up your energy on the bench, so you just kind of attach without thinking. But now with that mistake, Jonathan's going to have access to items, which is really, really rough. I think Jonathan's turn will look very, very different if Nathan was able to hit Pollen this turn.
100%, and the telepathic energy coming through. A key piece that's unlocked Alakazam alongside that Poképad. It just feels like they were made for the deck, as it will be able to set up nice and wide. 2 Abras go down on the bench, and the Dunsparce and telepathic energy for next turn to hand from that Hilda.
So, Mike, for the benefit of the folks at home, why don't we go ahead and go through? We've seen it like one stream already, but for the folks who might not know, how does the Alakazam deck work?
Well, off the back of a victory last weekend, Alakazam is very much a hot deck, and it's because it draws so many cards in combination, the Dunsparce and the Kadabras and Alakazams, drawing through Psychic Draw and Runaway Draw. And then that attack, powerful hands doing 20 or 2 damage counters, not damage in this case, to the active Pokemon for each card in your hand. So very quickly, that hand size grows and the numbers increase.
Yeah, so you just draw a bunch of cards, and then once you've drawn a bunch of cards, you basically take a one-hit knockout on anything with that powerful hand. That is the idea. Now, so Jonathan didn't have the most insane turn, was able to only get 1 Kadabra down, but it's going to go ahead and soften up this Meowth and do 30 damage to it with the Super Psybolt on the Kadabra.
What's really interesting is the package that Jonathan has is there to combat Dragapult EX. You see that Nighttime Mind, the handheld fan, but actually we got to start looking at this deck Nathan's playing. It gets caught in the crossfire there, as the main attacker is Greninja EX, which is a Terra, Nighttime Mind increasing the attack cost, and the handheld fan will be pushing that high energy cost of the attacker away. So as Nathan does his Chorus Tenacity now, we'll be looking for a Stadium Bump, as needs that in play to be able to attack for the full energy count.
Oh, that's really brutal. Of course, the no Mega Greninja in the list at all, actually. I stand corrected again. So it is, like you were saying, the Terra Greninja, that fighting type with the Shinobi Blade for 1 water energy, does 170 damage, lets you search a deck for any card, which is super, super strong. And of course, that Mirage Barrage attack, the devastating double 120, you know, 120 to each of 2 of your opponent's Pokemon, just really clearing out boards. But with the Nighttime Mind coming in, yeah, it's going to be really hard to get that attack going.
Yeah, that Chorus Tenacity, an interesting supporter inclusion from Nathan, does play a Stadium A spec in that Grand Tree. So we'll look to try and use that at various points throughout the game, allow you to evolve up through the Greninja line. A typical support way to get the Greninja X in play, where otherwise it's quite a tough deck to play consistently, so needs that A-spec for the evolution. Meanwhile, the other side, Jonathan looking to try and grow that hand, evolve the Alakazam line, and hit those big numbers.
Yeah, no items this turn, but still is able to do a lot of drawing through non-item means. Of course, that Dawn is going to be the big one, able to let you search for one of each kind of evolution stage of Pokemon, basic stage 1 and stage 2, so you can grab a lot of your lines really nicely here, including that Alakazam coming in with the powerful hand and the psychic draw to top of the hand even more, and it's going to be more than enough to KO the Alakazam.
And looking at this amazing list Jonathan's playing, popularized by Keris's win in Indianapolis. A unique take on Alakazam, previously focused on consistency and drawing to try and make the Alakazam strategy work as often as possible. Now leaning into more of these controlling aspects with the stadium, with the handheld fan, and that Dedenne that we saw do so well to win in the final last week.
And make no mistake, although this control package is in there, this is still a hyper-aggressive deck. You are still drawing a ton of cards. You are still taking a one-hit knockout, so much stuff. But yes, stuff like this handheld fan can make things really, really annoying in terms of if you get attacked into, suddenly you're moving the energy to something useless, and you can really make things a hassle for your opponent to deal with.
Well, we'll see how that comes into play. Now Nathan will be looking to try and start attacking. You don't want to give Alakazam too much time to set up, because it can start to get huge numbers with that hand size. But with the inclusion of the red card that we've got in the format now, special red card came out in Chaos Rising, and it has been touted as a hard counter to Alakazam. But there are lots of things that Alakazam players can do to play around it. And I think that's really what we're seeing here from Jonathan, just leaving the Dunsparce on board, recognizing that as the game goes on, and just in case there's an unfair stamp, just in case there's a special red card later on, we'll be able to stabilize the board.
Oh, hold on a second. A huge find from Nathan as he does find that ignition energy and a boss's orders for good measure to be able to try and take out a couple of Pokemon. Of course, with the ignition energy coming in, that's going to be enough to both provide the attack cost, but even under Nighttime Mind, because that's going to be 4 energy, and now you can barrage 2 things.
Exactly, and we'll just discard those 3 energy there. An amazing heads-up play from Nathan, both disrupting and taking out 2 Pokemon. 2 prize cards for Nathan. Jonathan's going to have to try and find a way to return this knockout with that disruptive Abra Gust in the active.
Yeah, because now Jonathan needs to find a way to get this Abra out the active or evolve it into an Alakazam as well. It definitely makes it a bit more of a headache, but Hilda could get him there.
So we'll just be Hildering now for an energy and maybe looking for that evolution. Does have a rare candy in hand, can attack with the active, does have the ability to draw plenty of cards with what's on board at this stage, and had a pretty big hand size from the previous turns too. So Greninja with that 310 HP will need to try and get 16 cards in hand, which I always find it quite funny watching Alakazam players count, because they're very good at counting, but they always want to double, triple check, because it's such an important part of the turn. You need to check every resource. What can you play before you do your attack? And you're always having to adjust your hand, because it's such a big hand size to play with.
Yeah, you want to make sure that you're not, under damaging, right? Because if you do that, you end up in such a bad spot. And that's exactly why these players do take the time to count up. Finds a Poképad off of that runaway draw. So I think with that, we'll be able to find enough cards to get to 16 and take the KO on this Greninja EX. Yeah, he's doing the counts now.
This is why I said it's a lot of counting going on, and we'll just be working out what can be played on top of that. Does have a little bit of room here to play the Buddy Poffin as well, so we'll be able to get that one Dunsparce out of the deck, the other in hand, I believe. So just limited on how much is possible there, but then this will be that point we're talking about. The special red card is now going to come into play after this knockout.
There's an interesting dynamic potentially coming into play as well, which is in the fact that, yeah, so one more runaway draw is going to come in, but also important to consider, Nathan is actually playing a Dusknoir line in his deck. Jonathan is playing a Psyduck, but Jonathan's not seen Nathan put down any of the Ghost line yet. So that could come as a pretty nasty surprise for Jonathan later on.
And just see, counting out the cards onto the table there, runaway draw, and we'll get another 3 cards. But obviously with each of these draw engines, you're also putting a card in play. So yes, you get 3 cards, but by putting the Dunsparce down, you're only going to get 2 cards on top, technically.
Yeah, it's a +2 in card advantage overall, right? You -1, then you +3, so it's a +2 overall. I think there's a little bit of a debate around what was done with the telepathic psychic energy.
Yeah, just working out whether the effect of the special energy was done on top, I should imagine. Just checking here. You know, it's always important. We got those stream judges there for a reason, so any of those questions come through, the players can ask away, so we'll find out what's going on there for you. But the Alakazam really totting up the numbers there, looking to try and get up to that 320 damage that could knock out the Greninja EX.
So I wonder if the debate is whether the deck was shuffled after the telepathic psychic energy, but I'm fairly sure searching the deck for 2 Pokemon is optional here.
I guess.
Oh no, it's not actually. Yeah, so when you attach from your hand to a psychic Pokemon, you have to like at least search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon. So that's probably why there's a debate here, because of course, you know, we need to make sure to do the things properly. So just making sure they're clarifying that essentially. Yeah,
just checking things through here, as every little decision has to be perfect in these high pressure moments. 7-0 and 6-0-1 for our 2 players we're featuring at the moment. Both of them will be wanting to try and make their way into that highest position possible into phase 2, as we have one more round of phase 1. These players don't need to worry about it. They've already qualified for phase 2, but there's many players out there right now on 4-2-1, maybe 5-2, looking to try and make that final few points to make it through to the next round.
Yeah, just looking through at this judge ruling, I do believe there was a shuffle already done for like another draw card. So in theory, it shouldn't impact the game overall. There were no other actions taken that would have made that make a difference either way. But that's exactly why the judges are going through with the replay, just to clarify that nothing else happened. But I don't think I saw anything that would have been made that impactful.
Well, we'll leave it with the judges over there to work things out and see what the conclusion is. And again, this is why we're very lucky here with Pokemon TCG, that there's an amazing team of judges out there to make sure everything is followed through. And at any point, our players are able to ask the question, ask about the rulings, and they're always there to help. So great to see that coming through here. And it was all done in such a simple way. Ask the question, and the judges will work it out.
Speaking of questions, I got one for you, Mike. So can you name like an example of like a time where you, like a recent judge interaction that you had? Of course, you've been competing a lot this season as well. I had 2 top 16 finishes. Do you have any like kind of stories like that you want to share?
I'm a bit of a fiend for calling a judge on myself. When
on yourself? Okay, fair enough.
When I realise I've made a mistake, and then I'm like, well, let me get a judge over. I need to correct this. And normally it's all done nice and easily. I think the key here is as long as you explain everything that goes on, there's a very clear system in place to make sure everything's done fairly. I've had plenty of game losses, double prize penalties for my own silly mistakes, and it is just part of the game. And I think one of my games in Toronto, against my worst matchup, I made a game loss error through my own mistake.
Oh no.
And the judges resolved it, and it is what it is. My opponent and I were very friendly about it, and it's like, I've made a silly mistake.
Yep.
And it is just how it goes sometimes, and then consequently lost the game, which I could have won against my worst matchup. So, you know, it happens to everyone, but the best way to do it is just be polite, and things will get resolved.
Yeah, I'll in solidarity, I'll share. It was probably my most embarrassing judge call. This was a while ago, and it was at a much smaller tournament. This was at like I think it was at a city championship back when those were a thing. I somehow started a game putting out 8 prize cards.
That'll do it.
And I didn't even notice until we're partway through the game, and I looked to my side, and it was like, I put out 8. And the judge just like looked at me. It was actually a friend of mine, Danilo. He came over, I called judge, and he looked at me and was just like, Freya, how did you do this? Like,
I mean, putting out 0 prize cards is one of the most common errors people do to start a game. I've forgotten to put my prize cards out plenty of times, but to put extra ones, that's quite the moment.
I don't know how I did that. We ended up resolving it by, like, you know, 2 of the prizes were shuffled into the deck, and of course that was a unprompted deck shuffle, so I think I got like a prize penalty basically for that. It wasn't like a game loss because it was giving myself a disadvantage, so like obviously no advantage was gained, but it was still, you know, incorrect move, so I got a prize penalty for that. But now I look back on it as a funny memory, but at the time I was like, oh my goodness, how did I do that?
Well, hopefully the resolution can be found soon for our stream game. As you alluded to, I think there was a telepathic energy attached, and the effect was not completed potentially. So we'll find out what the conclusion is there. But you know, all of these high pressure moments is really, and also with fatigue, right? That's typically where the mistakes come through. You're playing in a high stakes game and you're tired, and that's where you lose your focus. You can't prize check anymore because your brain's all fuzzy, and you're having to really think through the mechanics. I mean, even back in Frankfurt, my round 9, I got a game loss for taking 1 too many cards off of an INO, and that was, my brain was just completely fried. I couldn't think straight. And so yes, it is always these final rounds where things start to get more and more complicated for our players.
Okay, but let's think about it this way, right? So one thing is, you know, a mistake happened, but to try and, I guess, turn it back around. When you're in that moment, how do you pull yourself back out of it? Because you made a mistake, but you know you need to go through. So what do you do to like pick yourself back up?
Well, I'm lucky to have a background in coaching and esports where I always had to come up with that
That's
advice.
Convenient.
Yeah, but deep breaths are always the best advice. So for everyone at home, it looks like our players are resolving the final moments of that judge call, and we'll find out exactly what happened there. But yes, I'm sure both these players nice and calmly sorting this out, because there is no place that's more stressful to have any kind of gameplay errors than when you're on the stream table and all the eyes are watching as our players carry on. And it will be the Dudunsparce for 3 cards, as we saw just before we took that little break there, and shuffling them into the deck. And I think that will mean that Alakazam can take a knockout on Nathan's Greninja EX.
Should be enough cards in hand, right? I do see a ton there. You'd be able to do a counter here. There's a 3, is it 5, 7, 6, 7? No, I did it again, didn't I? 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that's enough.
So that'll be the knockout there. And just got word that there was a warning to Jonathan for skipping an action with the telepathic energy there. So no prize penalties here. We'll be taking that knockout, going down to 3 prize cards. And now Nathan gets his A-Spec on board, and it will be that Grand Tree.
Yeah, and what an appropriate thing to evolve into, of course, that Mega Frostlass that does more damage for every card in the opponent's hand. If there's any Pokemon that's going to be knocked out from that attack, it's going to be an Alakazam.
100%, and 3 prize cards given up when that gets knocked out too, so definitely a scary prospect to leave that Mega Frostlass there. And a Lily's Determination. I'm sure Nathan right now will be looking for some disruption of some sort to try and take this knockout.
Well, I mean, a special red card would be perfect, right? Because that would put Jonathan on 3, and that would be 150 damage, which would still be enough to put Jonathan on a low hand size, but still take a knockout on the Alakazam.
And just going to do that, flip the script here. A knockout was taken last turn, so we'll get to draw 3 cards. No red card, and Nathan says, that's it. Let's go game 2.
Yeah, needed to find the red card there to both disrupt and take the knockout, but missed it. So acknowledging the state of the board to say, yeah, let's just skip and go ahead to game 2. So Jonathan will take game 1, and yeah, that's a fearsome display of the power of Alakazam.
What a deck we've seen rising to the top. The winner of our Indianapolis Regional, piloted by Keris, has inspired many people to try out her build with that Nighttime Mine and the handheld fans. It was a moment here where Greninja EX looked to be coming back into it, taking out 2 big knockouts.
Yeah, right, because that's Barrage coming in at the exact right time with the Ignition Energy, being able to pay, make up for the extra cost of the attack from the Nighttime Mine, but it just wasn't enough. Because, yeah, it was the script, needed to find the special red card and just didn't find it, and kind of very smartly acknowledged that needed the extra time, and so with that play not working out, just go next.
Exactly. It can be quite a tough matchup when you have these high HP Pokemon that typically can tank a hit from most of the decks in the format, especially that scary Phantom Dive, which only hits for 200. So when you've got over 300 HP, you can deal with it. But in this case, Alakazam, a 1 prize attacker that can knock out anything in the format. So Nathan's going to have to be careful here, but does have options available. So we'll be looking to try and find those in this game.
Let's see what the prize cards are. I do believe accidentally put the prize cards out on the table. No, we need them over there. Oh, double Boss's Orders is not a great feeling. Double Water Energy, not amazing either. It's not unworkable, but that can't feel great.
And we'll be starting with the Staryu, which I think is that attacker that's ideal for this matchup.
Yeah, we'll be able to do 120 to the active and 50 to a bench Pokemon. Sets up KOs very nicely. Of course, 50 damage will just outright KO an Abra on the bench. So if Jonathan is not able to get down a Shaman, which he's definitely not because he doesn't even play it, that's going to be pretty good going for that Mega Starmie EX.
Yeah, just the 1/1 line of Mega Starmie in this deck. So I guess this matchup is one where it is in there for it. And I think there'll be certain matchups that the Mega Starmie will be ideal for. But just a whole toolbox of attackers here for Nathan, all using that water energy as the attack cost. And the early pass over to the other side, Staryu and Duskull down. And it will be now a chance for Jonathan to get things set up.
Oh, hold on a second. Something very important to note. Those 2 Boss's Orders are actually the only copies that Nathan plays. So not going to have any access to boss until he starts taking some knockouts.
Yeah, and they will be key targets as the game goes on, because Jonathan will be looking to set up the Alakazam line. And if you can completely take the Alakazam line out, there's not a huge amount Jonathan can do at a pinch. So a combination of the Dusknoir and the Mega Starmie could be an opportunity here to take big knockouts.
Yeah, and I want to talk about contrast of fortunes in terms of the setup. Wow, look at this here. Now that the Dust Skull has gone down from Nathan, Jonathan recognizing that needs to grab this Psyduck here, so we'll go ahead and grab that, and then prioritizing the Dunsparce and that Alakazam for good measure too.
Well, one of the interesting things with Psyduck is it takes up a bench spot, and with Jonathan's deck, every bench spot is a draw engine because your attacker is a draw engine, your Dunsparce take up bench space. So with that Psyduck down, only able to get 2 Abra. Meanwhile, the 3 Dunsparce can come out of play, but for now, it will just be the 2 Abra available.
And I'll tell you what, it's actually very fortunate for Jonathan that Nathan prized the 2 Boss's Orders, because if that wasn't the case, there is a turn, this turn, where you can Boss's Orders to bring up this Abra, and then if you can go into Mega Starmie and do the Jetting Blow, you're taking a double knockout, and as you were mentioning, take out the whole Alakazam line and leave Jonathan with basically nothing. Not
possible currently, but Jonathan won't know that. We have the extra eyes on those prize cards that give us that advantage of knowledge. But getting into the Mega Starmie, that has been achieved. That is the first part of the puzzle complete. And then the rest of the puzzle will heavily be dictated by what's seen on the other side of this Lily's Determination, I imagine.
I mean, it's a very simple puzzle in this instance, right? Oh, wait, hold on, there it is. Chorus's Tenacity. Well, that would get it done right there. Guarantees the energy in the stadium.
Yeah, go for the guarantee instead. No point in panicking over whether the Lily's Determination for 8 will find it. Instead, gets that Grand Tree and a Water Energy.
Hold on a second. Wait, this means that if you wanted to... Oh, no, decides not to go for it. You could have actually board wiped both the Abras here with the Grand Tree into the Dust Noir. Oh, no, there's on the side, of course, that's the whole point. Yeah, so that was very heads up that Jonathan went for that immediately.
Yeah, a little bit of damp on the bench. That Psyduck will deny that completely. But the knockout on one of the Abras really does start to put pressure on, as if you attack with an Alakazam and don't manage to set up multiple Abras, that Mega Starmie will keep pummeling the Alakazam line. So Jonathan now will be really hoping to try and get a big one-hit knockout on this 330 HP Mega. That's going to require 17 cards in hand.
And that's going to be hard enough even if the board is wide, but it's really not right now. With the second runaway draw done, suddenly Jonathan's only left with an Abra and a Psyduck on the bench.
Yeah, just going to have to shuffle up here. Does get the Fezandipity EX, so we'll be able to draw the 3 from that. And a Rare Candy Alakazam, although it sounds great because you get to draw 3, but by playing the Rare Candy and the Alakazam and the attachment, you're essentially not gaining any cards. So all that draw needs to come from the other draw engine here. And I think hitting 17 cards in hand might be too much to ask for at this stage.
I think you might be right, especially with basically all the draw options are now expended, especially... Yeah, that is not 17 cards in hand, and as you rightly mentioned, Rare Candy plus Attachment plus Alakazam is a neutral, and oh, we're just going to game 3!
And that was exactly it. Mega Starmie, we mentioned, was a powerful attacker in this matchup, and that is exactly why. Those Abras on the bench are clean knockouts with the secondary effect of the attack. Mega Starmie, the MVP, and Jetting Blow, the powerful attack.
Didn't even matter that you weren't able to knock out both the Abra, because with there only being one left, Jonathan basically had nothing going for him. And I mean, say if that game went on longer, all it would take is the Boss's Orders that you got off the prizes to KO with the Psyduck, and then you're just, doing Dust Noir and everything, and you're just running away with it. So Jonathan, acknowledging that, decides, let's just go game 3 now.
Oh, wow, the Psyduck really did block up that bench with its damp, but it denied the Dusk line from being able to blast the bench, and that's really it. That's how quick the game can go. We thought, based off of that first game, Alakazam looked incredibly favored here, but actually, what we saw from Nathan there is that 1-1 Mega Starmie line might be the key to the matchup. If it's unavailable like it was in game 1 when Staryu was prized, then it might be a tough old matchup, but lots of options here, and that's the key with these toolbox decks. There's so many different ways you can play them. Every single game will feel different, but for Alakazam, there's one target only. Get a big old hand.
Yeah, now speaking of, well, not quite a big old hand, but a regular old hand, that is going to be a mulligan. Did have Mega Starmie, but nothing to start with, unfortunately, so it's going to have to shuffle up, and that will give Jonathan an extra card, which, considering he's going to be going first in this game, he's got to be feeling pretty good about.
Yeah, one deck you do not want to mulligan into is the deck that's attack cost is very much dictated by the hand that you have. So
or its damage, rather. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, the attack damage there would be increased with every mulligan in theory. But plenty of basics here for Nathan, so I should imagine we'll see a few hands at most here. And we'll be looking to try and get a basic. There's a Fez. That's not the basic you want to see.
Oh, yeah, he's shaking his head. That is not a great opening hand, is it? Yeah, it has to start with the Fezandipity EX. Let's see what these prize cards are. Maybe that can be a little bit of a saving grace. Okay, the Starmie line is accessible, so Nathan's got to be feeling good about that at least.
Yes, and this will be it. Game 3 here as Jonathan kicks things off going first, attaches the telepathic psychic energy, and this is pretty much the dream start any Alakazam player would want.
Yeah, especially going first. Of course, you can't play a supporter, so the telepathic psychic energy, acting as its own buddy puffin when it's attached to that Abra or any psychic Pokemon for that matter, lets you grab 2 more basic psychic Pokemon from the deck and put them onto your bench. Oh, and has a buddy puffin to match up with it too. What a phenomenal start.
And you wonder what the targets are here. Do you try and go wider with the Abras, or do you keep it more Dunsparce related? We'll be doing a bit of price checking here to decide that very decision.
I think you can probably hold off on benching the Psyduck here, given that there's no Duskull currently down. So just get the third Dunsparce down so you can draw more cards, because odds are you'll find another search card to get the Psyduck down later.
Exactly that. And there's 2 rare candy prize for Jonathan, which will be making Alakazam knockouts early on a little bit tougher, as there's only 1 left available.
Yep, does only play 3 in the list, but maybe going first, that doesn't matter as well. Oh, the third one's in the hand already, okay.
I mean, that's pretty much ideal, isn't it? As we see plenty of draw ready for next turn. We'll just be poker padding early. I guess one of the advantages Nathan has with his deck is it is an unknown entity. Not many people will be familiar with it, so you do have to start thinking about, you know, item lock. Will the buddy find the Budu? And that is the exact thing we'll be seeing here from Nathan. A buddy poffin going straight down, but there is just the 1 Budu available.
Yeah, 1 Budu and 1 Staryu, but both not prized, so we'll go ahead and prioritize both of those. Makes a lot of sense to me. We'll do a quick check of the deck as well, and we'll probably realize that, yeah, the pricing is a lot better this time. Nothing really too consequential, and I believe there's a Lilies in hand as well to follow up. Oh, and an Ignition Energy to retreat this Pheasantipsy. I mean, if it's silly and it works, it's not silly because it gets you an Itchy Pollen.
Exactly. The key to slowing down Alakazam can sometimes be that Itchy Pollen, deny the rare candies. But thankfully for any Alakazam fans out there, Kadabra able to take out that Budu always provides a little bit of solace. But you see, this is a good start here for Nathan, able to get that main attacking line, the Mega Starmie down early, and we'll just be looking to set things up. And I guess for you here, Freya, what is the key here for Nathan to get ahead and stay ahead in this matchup?
I think it's just making sure that, yes, you can attack with the Mega Starmie quickly as you can, but then setting up some backups, right? And this is kind of playing into that exactly. That hand is pretty atrocious because I'm fairly sure he's not able to play any of that. He would really like to get some Froakie down so he could do like a follow-up with a Mirage Barrage later, and he's not been able to do that at all.
Exactly, and you can just see the Itchy Pollen coming through. Will be a singular damage counter on the Dunsparce, and I think you can pretty quickly say goodbye to that damage as the Dunsparce shuffles back into the deck, and that's some pretty good draw already from those Kadabras as Jonathan builds up a massive hand here.
Yeah. Oh, and absolutely vital. Finds the Dawn. This does mean that he can take all of the Abras on the bench out of KO range because all 3 of them will be evolved into Kadabra, so that makes the Jetting Blow nowhere near as devastating as it might be otherwise.
And this is where that going first for Jonathan was so key. Start evolving before the Mega Starmie can start Jetting Blow. And that really is looking a completely different game here for Jonathan. A quick scoop, recognizing that this matchup is definitely one that might take some time to get going, as you have a lot of draw to do for Alakazam, but both these players playing incredibly fast at this stage. 25 minutes left for this Game 3 to conclude.
Now, one thing I would really like to see from Jonathan is kind of banking the Dunsparce on the bench, but not using them. Because you have everything they need at this point. You have the Dawn, so that'll get you the third Kadabra, which will take yourself out of range. You evolve up into the Dunsparce, and then you just bank those so that you have the draw for the next turn, whereas this turn you don't really need it because the Super Cybot will be enough to take the KO.
Exactly, and knowing that Grand Tree is the ace-spec of choice, you're not worried about Unfair Stamp at this stage. You don't have to worry about getting that Genesect down. If anything, the Grand Tree can be kind of beneficial in a way because it can allow you to get the Dunsparce yourself.
Oh, hold on a second, though. Jonathan has gone ahead and benched another Abra. This might give Nathan the opportunity for a 2-price KO here. I'm surprised to see that, actually. Oh, actually, no, he didn't even... Right, okay, that was the case anyway. He actually prioritized the Dunsparce over the third Kadabra. That's an interesting choice.
Yeah, and got the Enriching Energy in play still, so looking to just hold off in case maybe something like a Judge is available for Nathan. So playing around disruption here at this stage.
So that's the part that I like. Like I mentioned earlier, I think banking the Dunsparce when you don't need to use them makes a lot of sense. But I do think that if it comes at the expense of enabling a Jetting Blow to take 2 prize cards, I'm not so sure how I feel about that, you know? Because now Nathan has a much better turn because this Hilda is going to get him 2 prize cards.
For sure. I mean, at this stage, the board for Jonathan is looking strong. Could have made it even stronger, as you mentioned. And it will just be that board setup now for Nathan to try and back up this Mega Starmie that will be the key. But I guess for Jonathan, he's comfortable with these 3-prize Pokemon being put in play because it's a nice up trade, 1 prize into 3 prize. But ultimately, Jonathan is currently working through a unique matchup. He's probably never experienced this before. He doesn't know how to play against Mega Starmie with Greninja EX and a Dusknoir line as well as a Mega Froslass. That's not something he's prepped for, so we'll be kind of solving this on the fly.
Yeah, like you were saying earlier, Mike, that is the part of the advantage of playing a deck like this. Maybe you kind of, not even intentionally, but your opponent just makes mistakes because they won't necessarily know what the best way to approach a given new matchup is. There is a Jetting Blow, double knockout, so the Kadabra goes down, 1 and the Abra goes down, 2 prize cards for Nathan. Can Jonathan get to this free prize knockout on this Mega Starmie? His hand is already huge, so chances are he can get there.
So also, can he take the knockout and stabilize the board behind it? You know, wants to draw lots of cards, but currently has a reasonable hand size. Not saying it's huge, but every single card you play is going to reduce that hand size to draw a few more. So that Rare Candy Alakazam is only a +1 to the hand. So these Dunsparce are going to have to do a lot of work at this stage.
Yeah, but I mean, with how many cards are in hand already, I actually think Jonathan, even not playing any other cards, I don't think he's a million miles away. This Dunsparce is going to go ahead and get 3 more cards. So the kind of card advantage expenditure has already been done because it's already been evolved. So that's going to be a +3.
And you just see the no Alakazam in deck. Dawn will just be 2 cards, but it's that Genesect, the Ace Nullifier, which will be coming through typically to deny Unfair Stamp in Alakazam. But on this occasion, we'll deny Nathan from that Grand Tree.
Yeah, which means that Nathan will need to find a Rare Candy to get there instead. So very heads up from Jonathan, recognizing that, sure, you're not going to be stopping Disruption, but you're going to be stopping something equally as devastating. And Handheld Fan's ready to go in hand as well. So I think Jonathan's just counting the cards to make sure he can kind of bank this.
We'll draw 3 now. Runaway draw. Puts the Enriching Energy back in deck. Protects it somewhat.
Also enables it to be reused.
Alakazam to the active.
How many cards in hand now? It is a lot. I think it does just come down to a matter of, is there enough in hand for Jonathan to put down this Genesect with the Handheld Fan and still take the knockout? I think there's enough, you know.
Just going to be counting out that deck, that hand. The downside of counting out the hand is it's very hard to also look at what's in the hand. So then you have to do a
yes.
little look through to remind yourself what resources you've got. And then you got to think, what are the most important resources at this stage? And for Jonathan at this stage, it was getting back an Abra, as 2 were knocked out in the previous turn.
Oh, and hold on a second. Having to bench this Pheasantipity EX does not feel great. That could be a very easy way for Nathan to go back into an advantageous prize map because, of course, it's weak to fighting, so the Terra Greninja can KO it for 1 energy.
100%, and we see just counting out those cards one last time. Will the knockout come through? There it is. Mega Starmie goes down. 1 final knockout onto that Mega Starmie. I doubt we'll see that come back, but it was so key in game 2 for Nathan. Now it's not available, and there we go. It's off the top.
Finds the Grand Tree, and so Jonathan not prioritizing the Genesect, not being able to go for it. If Nathan can find, I think Nathan has a special red card in hand, so he's absolutely thinking about this right now. Grand Tree into the Terra Greninja. Oh, wait. Oh no, the Terra Greninja's in hand. Is there another one in deck?
Does play the 2. We'll look to special red card at this stage, and that is a key piece to try and deny Alakazam the resources it needs to take big knockouts.
Okay, he's fine either way because there's a Rare Candy in hand, so no matter what, he can go for this Greninja play. And yeah, he's actually going to not even bother with the Grand Tree. Oh, but hold on, you can use the Grand Tree to go into Dusknoir as well. Oh, this could be a devastating turn.
Exactly, so lots on the board here for Nathan to pull off. And we'll be able to try and leave only large Pokemon in play. That Greninja EX with 310 HP. The Pheasantipity EX from the start, it was started. Nathan started it. So we'll be looking to try and keep everything as high HP as possible after that red card.
So what Nathan, in case you're at home wondering, what is Nathan thinking about right now? He's thinking about the optimal sequence to make this turn as devastating as possible. Does it make sense for me to play the Buddy Pop in first, or should I go for the Grand Tree first? Because the one thing that he needs to make this turn, like, you know, the ultimate devastating turn, is to find that boss's orders. If you find that boss's orders, you combine that with the special red card, you bring up the Pheasantipity EX, you KO it, you deny an extra draw from Jonathan there, it's 2 prize cards, and that's going to put you in very good contention to win.
While you're talking about all that, let's just talk about Shinobi Blade. 170 damage, not much damage normally, and something like Alakazam with fighting resistance, you think, oh, that's quite close. But it is literally the perfect maths. 140 on the Alakazam with that resistance will be the perfect damage. And Shinobi Blade, very good at setting up plans because you get to search your deck for any card you like afterwards. So Nathan right now in a great position to punish after that special red card, and it will be down to this Dust Noir in combination with Shinobi Blade of Greninja EX.
Yeah. So is there any way for Nathan to find this boss's orders, or is it's just going to be the Shinobi Blade? Okay, just he's holding fire for now. He's saying, okay, I can just take the KO here. Going to take one prize. The special red card should hopefully be enough to deny Jonathan the means of taking his last knockout for the win, and then if you can't find it, I win next turn.
Interestingly here, Nathan's actually playing around special red card himself, and Jonathan just drew into it as well. So disrupting Greninja in this late stage would have been huge.
Wait, no, he's not. Like, Nathan is just taking his third prize card, so he could get special red carded here.
Oh, wow. Everything's kind of coming together in these final stages. Nathan, 3 prize cards left, looking to try and get the winning moment next turn. Can knock out both a Pheasantipity and a 1-prizer, is very much in range.
Yeah, the Shinobi Blade did find, with that ability to search any card in the deck, found the boss's orders. So Jonathan is basically on a 1-turn clock. Having said that, the special red card is there, ready to go in the hand, so maybe that can buy him some more time if he can't find the KO here, because if he finds the KO here, he wins anyway. Let's see.
Very interesting. I mean, that special red card might actually be the key to Jonathan's turn here, because everything is available for Nathan to win next turn. He took the boss's orders. He has the ignition energy ready to go. So Jonathan looking to try and get that big 2-prize knockout here to win the game off the back of a special red card. Is there enough draw in play? That's the question.
Can't play the enriching energy because he needs to attach to attack. He also would really like to play that nighttime mine just to counter the Grand Tree, although the Grand Tree wouldn't necessarily have an impact for the next turn anyway. He's just going through the calculations in his head. Here's counting the cards. Is he doing it in blocks of 5, it looks like? So Poképad... Oh, hold on a second. Is this just going to be enough if he goes for... If he finds the Kadabra, draws 2 and attaches the energy, I think that's going to be just enough.
Well, does just have to work it out in this final stage. Needs to try and get 16 cards in hand, which is a lot to ask off the back of a special red card. Did have a few to Dunsparce. Unfortunately, like you said, can't use that enriching energy, which would be huge at this stage, but gets to draw 2.
So I think this will put him to 17 cards in hand, and then he attaches the Psychic, and that'll be 16, and that'll be exactly enough, I think.
Well, we'll see at this stage.
Am I tripping?
I think he might be looking to go for that special red card. Is going to be putting the Nighttime Mine, so not quite there, not quite enough cards in hand, as Jonathan unable to recoup 16 cards off the back of that huge knockout last turn with the special red card.
No, yeah, it's not quite enough. I must have miscalculated, but it seemed like it. Well, no, it's not there. Oh, Jonathan is so close here. But yeah, I think you're right, Mike. I think it's going to come down, if he can't hit the KO here, it's going to come down to setting up the board as well as possible with the Buddy Poffin, and then special red card and hope it sticks.
And it's going to be that Psyduck as well that can now come in to deny the Dust Noir. And that's a huge advantage for Jonathan. Won't necessarily need to worry about that. The Dust Noir itself isn't required for Nathan to take the knockout next turn, because there is Pheasantipity X in play, which he can take, as well as a benched 1-prizer. The special red card is required. Jonathan recognizes that. Now Nathan, who had game in hand, is unable to win next turn unless he draws it off of these 3 cards.
Yeah, so now it's a matter of he needs to find ignition energy plus boss's orders to take out the Pheasantipity and one of these weaker Pokemon in one go.
I guess the Dust Noir was a bit of a backup plan in case that wasn't possible.
Yeah, that's now way, way less, but I think it makes sense that Jonathan has played this out this way. 7 cards, I believe that is. So that's going to be 100, or 8 cards rather. So it's going to be 160 damage. Nathan, what do you have? Do you have a way to punch it? Well, not punch a ticket to phase 2, but to punch your ticket to an 8-0 record? I'm not seeing it from the... There's an Ultra Ball.
Oh, wow. So an Ultra Ball here, potentially looking for the ignition energy, but you need a little bit more. The Chorus's tenacity could potentially take out both the Alakazam line.
No, it wouldn't be enough, would it? Because it does 120 twice, so especially in the active, it's going to have resistance coming in, it's not going to quite be enough.
Gravity Mountain would take it down to 110, which would still not be quite enough. So yeah, just the numbers here. Nathan trying to work out if there's any other routes. The original plan has been taken away with that special red card. The Dust Noir now not available for a secondary route to victory as the Psyduck comes down and the damp ability denies the Cursed Blast from being triggered. So everything here now asking a lot of questions of Nathan as he's looking to try and find that Meowth and work out what the best game plan here is to take these final few knockouts.
Jonathan might have done just enough to secure this game free and to take him to a 7-0-1 record. You can almost like see the wrinkles of the furrowed brow on Nathan's head. He knows how close he is, but he just knows he's just that little bit short. Is it Boss? Is it Corsa's Tenacity? It has to be Meowth, right? But you need to play both these cards in one turn. You can't do that.
And exactly that. And this is the reason why Alakazam did so well last weekend, was because it is able to draw so many cards and take these huge knockouts, and it's able to do it with a full one prize board, occasionally the Pheasantip EX. Everyone said special red card would stop it from doing what it does best, which is take huge knockouts and grow massive hands, and it's actually Alakazam with the special red card that might be coming through as the victor here, as Nathan now just trying to solve a route to victory in these final stages. Does play the Corsa's Tenacity to get that Ignition Energy in a Gravity Mountain. Is there a route here?
I guess you could take a KO onto this Alakazam with the Shinobi Blade and hope that Jonathan doesn't find another Energy and Alakazam to finish the, to seal the deal. That could be something maybe.
Could even retreat into the Dust Noir and hope that that's a route to victory.
That also doesn't feel great, though, does it? It's going to be Gravity Mountain, Ignition Energy, and okay, you're just going to go ahead and take out the Psyduck and the Kadabra.
And here we go. There's going to be enough cards in hand here for Jonathan. With that Enriching Energy, draws 4, also has a Flip the Script, will be able to take the knockout onto that Greninja EX. 7 cards drawn at the start of this turn, and Alakazam in the hands of Jonathan will be going 7-0-1 here in phase 1 of Turin. And there it is, the big knockout. Nathan sitting strong on 7-1, but it is Jonathan now leaping ahead. 7-0-1.
Of course, ironically, at the end, the Gravity Mountain actually made Jonathan's job even easier for him because it did reduce the HP of the Greninja EX as well. That's probably why there was the debate on playing it, but yeah.